Hello, everyone. Hello, what's up, Alex Fire 367. Hello, Morningstar. All right, guys. Maybe I can wait for a little bit until everybody joins. I think most of the people that can get, I think the limit should be like 10, more or less 10 people to join. Then we can start. Maybe 5. Morningstar, are you subscribed to my Patreon channel, Patreon page, or not? Do you have access to the project files? Let me know. Hello, what's up, Steve? All right, I guess we can start. We don't have to wait for everybody to join. I'm not sure how much people will join, but let's start. This is the project files that you're going to get if you subscribe on the Patreon channel. So as you can see, everything works. So basically, what you get in the standard membership in the standard project is the usual navigation, like left, right, the 2D navigation mode, so that you can basically be able to navigate through the ledges, on the ledges. The only things that you're not going to have that you have on the premium project is the corner, the outer corners, and the inner corners, and the freehang. Those are the ones that you don't have, and also the leap. I've decided to make that so that everybody can have their own benefits, and also it facilitates. It gets easier for me to basically make the tutorial for you guys, so that I don't spend that much time and then I don't kill myself making the tutorials. And it's a lot easier to explain when you don't have such complex mechanics. But the basic stuff, the basic project as it is right here, it's already complex, so I don't want to make you guys confused. Just be able to make it so that it's very understandable for everyone to follow, so that you can, later if you want to decide to upgrade, you can have the premium project. All right. All right, so let's start. So the first thing you're going to do for making the advanced ledge system, I'm not sure if I should start by showing up what's in the code, or I should just start the tutorial right away. let me know what you guys prefer, because let me know what you guys prefer, if I should just show the code right away, or I should just start the tutorial right away. What do you guys prefer? Seeing the code right away? All right, so let's do that. I'm gonna not only show the code, but also tell you briefly how it works. Seeing the code first is better. Okay. So this, first of all, before seeing the code, you of course are gonna have to have the ledge stripes for making the character to be able to attach to the ledges so that the traces can work. So basically, you have this ledge stripes in here. You have the tag, which tells which angle the character should be facing at when he attaches to the ledge. And also, what you gotta do first before you're making the code is you're going to go to the edit, project settings, collision, and then you're gonna make sure that you have a ledge named as a object channel. So you just click on new object channel. I think the default response could be ignore, but it doesn't really matter for now. So after that, you're going to go to the, what you gotta do, you go to the ledge system graph. And then here, as soon as you press F, as you can see, this view trace appears. So when you press F, we check if the character can attach. It checks if the character is already climbing. If it is, then if the character is already climbing and then we press F, we detach the character because the character is already climbing. So we detach the character if the player presses F. We stop all the timelines to make sure that no timelines are being running, so that it makes sure that the character doesn't have bugs with translation. We stop all the other timelines as well that we have in here, the ledge navigations timelines. And these timelines are responsible for the first attachment. When you firstly click on F, we have a timeline for setting the actual location separately. We prepare the character movement. We'll update some variable states, some booleans, to make sure that the system works properly. Here we have an option to play a ledge fall animation, but it's up to you. As I already do a montage stop in here, you can basically decide what you want to do, but I prefer to just stop the montage, whatever montage is being played. Just stop that, so that we can detach from the ledge. Now, if the character is not already climbing the ledge and then we press F, then we run the attach code. Now in here, we're just going to check if we have input capabilities. We execute a hang trace attachment trace. So if you double click on that, you can see we use a capsule trace for objects. And then for the trace, you have this is just to align the trace in the world, so that when you press F, it aligns the trace in the world. Make sure that when you make the array from the object types, you have the ledge as the object type. Here, of course, we promote the hang trace to the alt hit result structure to a variable, so that we can use it later. I'm not sure why I do this variable here. I forgot. I forgot why I do this variable. I'm gonna have to maybe that's why it's always good to add a description of what that variable does, especially when you're prototyping. It's good to have that. But for this one, I forgot to add a description, so that's why I don't know what this variable is for. But here, as it says, it checks if the trace did hit a ledge. If it's true, we disable some variables. We prepare the character movement. Here, set the fly speed because I was having sliding issues while the character was in the air, while the character is attached to the ledge. Here, we prepare the character movement. We update some states, variable boolean states. Here, we play a ledge catch animation. Now, the montage you're going to play in here is depending on which animation you have set up in the structure. So I've made some structure. I've made the ledge order structure in here. It's called ledge order structure. I didn't name it properly, but it's as it is right now. So here we're getting just basically the first attachment. Yeah, I've wrote wrong, but that's okay. Attachment. There we go. First attachment. So here in the default values, you're gonna have to place the variable to match that action. So let me just see if I have that variable here. No, I don't. I don't have any variable in here. Not variable, the montage. But basically, you're just going to, when you add the animation pack to your project, you just gotta place it in here, the first attachment. And that's it. I'm gonna make a, I think I already have a separate video talking only about how to place those animations in there, into the structures. Let me just see if I can find it. I think it is in the updates. Yeah, if you guys want it, just let me know. So here, disable all the movement inputs so that if the player presses any key, it's not going to affect the ledge state. We gotta make sure to block the player movement inputs so that it doesn't interfere with the ledge climbing process. Here we get, as we're using GASP, we need to set the character state to stop strafing and stop aiming. If it is, regardless if it is or not, just stop strafing and stop aiming. Now here we do the second step climb. We save the whatever angle that is saved on the ledge. So depending on the ledge angle, right now it is 0. And if you're checking here, we basically save that value to a float. And then we set the actual rotation right away. I don't have a, I think as we're using GASP, when you set the actual location, it doesn't get to be snappy. I'm not sure why, but in my case, it might set up in here. I didn't have any snappy issues when you, maybe you have, let me just see. So as you can see, the character, even in slow motion, as you can see, the character is rotated smoothly. I'm not sure how and why, but they made it that the GASP system, even if you set the actual rotation without timelines, the character is not going to be snappy. All this is all into the new, this is for GASP 5.5. I'm not sure if for GASP 5.6 changed something in the code. Let me know, because what you might see in here in the 5.5 might be different on 5.6, but it shouldn't change much. The code could be the same, even if you update the engine version. doesn't always mean that the GASP also updated. So I'm not sure if the GASP updated for the 5.6. If you're using that, we're gonna have to compare the code to see if something changed. But I think probably most likely the process is going to be the same. For disabling the character input states, for example. It's not going to. I think it's not going to be something drastically. Something drastically is going to change in the code that it's going to be undevelopable. I was able to follow your locomotion devlog with 5.6. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I don't think GASP was updated on 5.6. Yeah, that's good. I think, yeah, you can, if you're using 5.6, you can continue using it. If you're following this tutorial, this devlog, not devlog, this is a system overview. Now in here, after we set the actual location, now this is the node responsible for setting the actual location. As you can see, if you face the ledge differently, as you can see right here, and then press F, this set actual location is responsible for setting the actual location. As you can see, if you don't have that in place in there, no, it's not gonna work. Incredibly, it worked. I'm not sure why. Let me just see if, oh yeah, it's because I have a timeline. Oh, so that's good. So we don't need to have this one. We don't need to have this node in here because we set the actual rotation in here. Because when you set the actual rotation directly, the character snaps, it always snaps. And then if you use timelines with alpha values, it always smoothly rotates. The character rotation always smoothly rotate. Does this live replace the YouTube tutorial that was supposed to release in September 01? No, it's not going to replace. I'm going to make two. I'm recording with OBS. I'm streaming and recording at the same time. So when we come to the tutorial, I'm going to make it so that after the live ends, I'm going to take this video and then I'm going to use Premiere Pro to edit, and then I'm going to launch the tutorial with the cuts. With the video cut, do the edits to shorten the tutorial so that I can launch the tutorial as well. So it's not going to replace. But it did update once after it was released. I can't remember when it was. Are you talking about the GASP? The tutorial is going to be, let me just see which. September 1. Let me see. Oh. I'm gonna try to release the standard members tutorial, the project, in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be releasing because I have to edit the video and edit the video, add some things. Maybe tomorrow is going to be done. Tomorrow in the morning, Brazilian time. I'm not sure if GASP was updated after the 5.6 was released. I'm not sure. All right, so after we save and store the angle that the character should be facing at, we use two vectors, one for saving the current location of the character, and the other one for saving where the character needs to be at. Here you use a rotation timeline. Sorry to ask again, but is the YouTube tutorial coming out tomorrow or the Patreon standard tier version coming out tomorrow? The Patreon standard tier version is already in the on Patreon. It's already available. It's this one. You can just go ahead and access. So it's already available. The advanced light system standard project files is already available, so you can access. And the YouTube tutorial is coming out tomorrow. Yeah. All right. All right. So here we update the variables just for the timelines to prevent bugs. And then here we run the timelines for updating the actor transform. So we use separate timelines, one for updating the location of the character, and the other one for updating the rotation of the character, where the character should be facing. Now, here it's very simple. We just use a timeline and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to explain everything later. Here we're going to rotate the character to face the ledge, blah, 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 update some values, and then done. Now in here in the event graph, we have made a very specific change in here. Let me just see if I have some other things in there. So for the movement input, we have the enhanced input action for the GASP. And then here we update the values. We save the input action values. I have a macro for the action values. So this is just for making it, this is very complex at the beginning. Most people will give up watching this, but this is for, all this code is just for saving the input value so that we can smoothly navigate on the ledges. These values are going to be used later for the trace to know where exactly we want to detect the ledges based on the player's input. So, for example, when you attach your ledge in here, when you press W and you keep holding it, as you can see, the trace is going to be up and on the vertical, depending on the make the trace to go where the directional input keys is directing. So basically, position the trace based on the player's input. That's it. Here's going to check if the character is climbing. Now here we have the ledge trace detection function. So if the character is already climbing, we have the ledge trace detection. Here we position, this is very big. Very big code. So basically what we're doing here, briefly, we're basically setting the position of the trace depending on the inputs of the player. So if the player is pressing W, we set the offset of the trace to be up or down, and we set basically the position of where the trace is going to be. Now this gave me a long time to make. Here I have the trace, and then we update some values in here. We save the structure. Here for the ledge climb movement, if the ledge trace did hit a ledge, the trace detection did hit a ledge, we come to the ledge climb movement graph. If the character is not climbing, we go to the default movement. So what that means is that if the character is not climbing at all, and then we press the WASD keys to move, the default movement is going to be in place. So the default movement, the default movement is this one. So if the character is climbing on the ledges, as you can see, that movement is going to change to the other one. Okay, nice. This is awesome, man. Yeah. It's very awesome. Very awesome. So here we have the collapse graph, which contains a lot of things that we have to look at. And this is probably the most complex and most big part of the code, where basically all the core logic resides. So here we check again if the character is already climbing. I think we don't need to do that as we're doing here, but just to make sure that the code runs smoothly and without bugs. But it's optional for you to choose if you want to detect it twice. It's not really needed. Only proceed if the transition timeline is finished. Now, yeah, we have two timelines, one for attaching and one for correcting the position of where the player is going to be. So we run there are timelines for different purposes. So the first timeline that we use is for attaching the character. So as you can see, smoothly attach the character on the ledge by pressing F. And then the other timeline that we have is just for correcting the position of where the player needs to be while navigating on the ledges. So as you can see, the character is being moved with the timelines, as you can see right there. That's why we have the smooth transitions. It's because of the timeline. So we have two timelines for different purposes. So I don't know which one this is, if it's for navigating. I think this is for navigation, for ledge navigation, not for the first attachment. I think you also need to check for the first attachment as well. But right now I think it's not really, if you're not having bugs, then everything is good, but it's always good to prevent bugs as soon as possible. Because it's just like take 2 milliseconds for the timeline to finish. And in that 2 millisecond frame, you know, something might happen. The player might press one key and the other. And if the player tries to spam, maybe you're going to have, if the player spam all the buttons on the keyboard within that 2 millisecond frame, something might happen. So it's always good to make a refined system as this system is. But I think I would consider that this system is a very professional and advanced code for big studios. In here we check if definitely best to be preventative for sure. Here it checks if, so here is set to true if input action is detected. So we only continue if player is pressing any key. If the player is pressing any key, I'm sure one of those values here are going to be more than one. But here, to not confuse anybody, just check for inputs. Player, check for player input values, just that. Then here you only continue if player is pressing any key. So that means that if value X or Y is not equal to 0, then we follow up with the code. Here we just update some input values. Save inputs for blend space. Here you don't use for blend spaces, but save inputs. Save, and sometimes I do things that I don't know how to explain, because for some reason it works that way. It only works one way. And for example, right now I'm just updating the values with the same values that's being updated. Sometimes I do things I don't know why I did it, but it just works. So I just keep I keep it that way. So if it works, it works. You just gotta make sure that the code is scalable and it's maintainable, and so that you can keep the code and keep adding new features, but keeping it, you know, optimized and looking good. So here we check for the ledge, if the ledge hit was detected. So if it's true, we run this function here. This function is for processing the ledge target data. So when you for the ledge navigation, when you hit a ledge, as soon as that line trace hits, not that line trace, it's view trace, as you can see, it turns green and it gets all the information. All we gotta do in here is just get all the information from the ledge. So we basically say things like, we save things like the impact position where the trace has hit, the, I don't know, rotation, which direction it is, what's the current actor rotation at the moment of the ledge hit. Now, right now I'm just going through the code. It's because like just showing up the code in here, for me, it doesn't make sense just to show up the code without explaining things, how they work. But I don't want to spend that much time on explaining because I have to do the tutorial as well. So here we define the character center. What's the center of the character to better make calculations. The impact point, we save the impact point of where the sphere trace has hit the ledge. Here we calculate the reach distance. Here we determine Here we determine the target ledge angle by the tag that we've just set in here. Here we select the forward offset, so you can decide which one is going to be. I'm not sure why we have 2 in here, negative. Now this one is negative 32 and this one is 32. I'm not sure which one we should keep, but probably we're gonna take a look at this in the actual tutorial. This is just a code overview. What is this doing? Yeah. So here we're basically defining where the location of the character is going to be. Okay, so this is going to decide where the target location, what is the future location of where the character needs to be on the ledge. So here define the target transform. We set the transform, which basically we can break down into location and rotation. And then after that, we define the target angle difference. I'm not sure why we do that for now. I just know that it took a while to do this code. Steve said, thanks for going through the whole code. It's very helpful in education. I like it when you repeat info and go through it slowly. Yeah, especially for someone who's, you know, just starting out. It's very confusing at the beginning, but I'll just try to explain as best as I can. So do you have to place tags on each ledge you want to be able to climb, or does this work on any ledge? It works on any ledge as soon as you put those ledge stripes. And then yes, you have to place the tags on each leg on each ledge you want to be able to climb. I think that's the most practical way you can build the levels. Of course, that's going to be maybe a big work for level designers if you have a huge map. But you know, it works. If it works, you can test it out on. You can test the system on your own to see if you have any bugs. But probably this is the most refined system that you're going to have, I think, out there. What's currently available, and it's a very simple code compared to the other ones I've seen. Yeah, I think I'm gonna open up the ledge premium while I keep explaining the rest of the code. I'm just going to be able to show you guys how it looks like when the system is done, the full system. I'm just gonna open it up real quick. So just to show you guys how the system looks like when it's done. All right, I'm gonna show you the system, how it looks like after I finish the explanation, after going through everything. But for placing the ledges, it's pretty much easy. You can just like just copy paste. If you want, you can make groups, as I've done in here, so that if you move one, you move all the others. This one is grouped, so that, as you can see, you can just copy paste, and then you can make the ledges. And if it's not grouped, you can move the ledges and then just place where you want. Oops, I don't want to delete that one. Is there a way to do it without tags and be able to climb anything with 90-degree ledge, or are all ledge tags pretty standard in large productions? There is a way to... Yes, there is a way to do it without tags. But I can try to think of a way without tags. But the way how I think that should work without tags is making each ledge stripe a single actor. But that would affect the performance, I think, right? So that if you make every single ledge stripe as one actor, you could basically make each actor set its own rotation and basically give themselves a tag automatically, and then do that automatically. It's totally possible to do that with actors. But the problem is that actors, they can cause performance issues. So that's why I'm still thinking about to do that. Is there a way to give tags? I'm trying to find a way to see if I can use, let's say, for example, let's say this is the ledge stripe. And then if I try to access that ledge stripe, and then I can maybe give a tag, and then we can basically set its tag based on the location and rotation of it. So get rotation, maybe get world rotation or get rotation. So get actor rotation, and then we can basically give a tag to it. So we can make an array. That could work, as you can see. Yeah, we can make this scalable in the future so they don't have don't need to add tags, but you only need to add tags for the freehang, because the freehang, I think you should keep it to be free. I think you should keep it to be. I think I should keep the system so that you can add the freehang possibility, because I don't know, it's almost impossible to know if the character should be freehanging or should not be freehanging, you know. So the values for the angles, they can be, as I'm trying to do right here, they can be automatically set with the blueprint, the level blueprint, so that as soon as you play the game, the tags are automatically set depending on the actual rotation. So convert to string, float, and then to name. As you can see right here, this is a system that it's going to be very good. We can try that system later, but right now I'm just explaining. I'm just explaining the rest of the code. So let's go. So here we find the delta between current and target angle. So basically here what's happening, here is we're trying to find the difference angle between two rotations, two floats. So we have the delta rotator, which finds the difference between one point to the other. Oh, no problem, man. And then we finalize the function. Let me just close everything. I think it's a mess in here. And then on the next function, we determine the ledge direction, where the character needs to be. And then we use a enumerator for setting up which direction the character, for basically deciding which direction the character should go, if he should go up, down, right up, diagonally, backwards, forward, whatever. So I've made this macro in here just to basically decide which direction should be considered for the character to go up or down, based from which values, right? We need to get a reference point of which values is considered for the character to go up or down or to any direction. So inside that macro, we have a saved rotation value in here that we set later or before. I think we set this value before. I don't remember where I set this value, but and then we have an end. I'm not going to explain the whole this part in here. I can try to explain with ChatGPT later to help me explain things. It's pretty good. And then if the character should go up, then we have a return node, which basically ends the execution of the function. And then we have a found valid direction, which is a boolean. And then we just basically tick that option on just to check, just to tell that we found a valid direction, right? And then we just basically repeat that process for all the directions. So as you can see, found valid direction, the character should go right down. We have a different parameters in here, a different parameter for each direction. Each value in here for each direction is unique, as you can notice. Now, if there is not any valid direction, and that's where you can basically prevent most of the billion bugs that could happen, we just set if no valid direction is found, we just set the boolean, not the boolean, the enumerator to be not set up. And then for the return node, we set to be found a valid direction. We just tick that option off as it is right now, so that it's going to be executed as false, so that we can prevent a lot of bugs to happen. All right. Now this enumerator called ledge direction selection, I think. Let me just see where it is. Ledge direction selection, which is called montage selection enumeration. This is just basically a enumerator, a list of all the directions that the character can possibly go in this system. In this system, we don't have all the other possibilities that the character can leap on 180, do corners, inner corners, outer corners, all the other stuff, all the other good stuff. In this system is more simpler. We just have those directions, which is just a 2D directional possibility that the character can go on the ledges. Two dimensions, just up, down, left, right. And then for the next code, we have a new function. We have a ledge montage selection selector by direction, and selects and configures the appropriate ledge transition montage. So as you can see right here, the previous one, we just basically set the value for the enumerator, which is going to be used later for this function to basically select, based on the previous values that we set in here, which direction we should go. We're going to use that information to basically play the animation itself. So inside the ledge montage selector by direction, it's just going to do its job. Basically does what it says. It selects the montage by direction, depending on which direction the character wants to go. So here we can see that it's based on the angle, the distance, the transition. We can choose also the transition type, the animation, play rate, offsets, timeline. We can configure everything related to that in here, in this function. Right away, in the inputs, as soon as you start that function, we set the animation montage to play to be false, so that we just empty out that value just to prevent bugs that could happen. Maybe you're going to one direction, maybe you're going to the left, and then the character plays the animation of going to the right, but then the character goes to the left, just to prevent that kind of issue, and make sure that the system works great. So now after that, we have a sequence. We have a then 0 and then 1. The reason why I've done that is because I don't want to place, the reason why I've used a sequence and not just do that and then just place the return node on every single set ledge parameter from angle is because, I don't know, I could also do that, but I think this method also works. I think it can just do that right away. So the sequence is going to execute then 0 and then 1 if yeah, I think I shouldn't do that. I think the best way to do this would be just do this, and if it doesn't equal to not set up, then you can continue. Just to make sure that the system doesn't execute into a direction that doesn't exist. Basically, don't move the player if the direction is not set up. So that's basically if no valid direction was found. I think that's the best way to do it. There you go. Now coming back at this, we have a short comment. As you can see right here, we have a lot of comments. We have short, medium, and then mid, long, and then at the final, at the ending here, we have the ledge direction not set up, because if there is no valid direction in here, then the character shouldn't be playing anything, should be canceled. I'm not sure if I have a cancel event in here. Let me just see, cancel. Yeah, we don't have a cancel action here. I think in this moment right here, it's not really needed for the code. It's not really needed to have a canceled event. So here on the ledge montage selector by direction, it basically chooses the animation depending on the angle, the distance, and I think that's it. So for the short, we use animations for short distances. So these are the medium distances and these are the long distances. So we have animations from going to all directions plus for going into different distances, right? So here on this branch, we have the short animation montages. So here basically checks if the character is on that range of -20 to 20 to go on the ledges. Here it checks if the distance matches those values. I'm going to explain this later. We're going to do it later. Now this is going to be a little bit confusing because you didn't do this code. Now I've done this code, so I know what I've done. Because even for an advanced programmer, it takes a while to just know the code a little bit more. Now here we set the montage to play. So here we have the short support. So remember that structure that we set up in here. We can set basically all those after you've done setting up the placing all the animation montages in here. All the ledge animation montages in here. You can basically feed that information in here so that it basically selects automatically which animation should be played depending on the ledge direction selection. And then here we finally set the ledge parameters from angle so that we can basically finish our function execution. So here we have some other informations, pretty important ones, because these ones are the ones that makes the transition to look smooth. So here for the first function, we have the target, which every single function that you create requires a target, which is self. And then the second, you don't need to worry about this one. Now the second option that we have is the use saved active transform. Sometimes this option, if you tick on this option to be true or false, depending if it's true or false, you have better results, but you're gonna have to test it out. As you can see in some functions, I have set it to be true. I'm not sure if this really makes any difference, but you can test it out. It's just a method of calculating, of basically saving and calculating the current character position in order to move it with the timelines in the target direction. I'm not sure if it's understandable, but that's all right. Here we have the add play rate. You can decide how fast the animation should play, but I think this option, use this option with caution, because sometimes you might cause bugs. Because if you change the play rate, like how fast the animation plays, you might also set the delay until correction. It could also be affected, so just pay attention to that. and also the timelines that you use for doing that action. All right, so that's it. So we do just repeat the process for the medium. And now here we have this macro, which we use for basically selecting the right animation, which based on which direction you're going. And then we just basically do and follow up with the code. We have a different macro for the medium distances and the long distances. So for the long distances, we have the long structure. And for this one, we have the enumeration. Now, yeah, for making this tutorial is going to be very, very tiring because maybe it's not really needed to make a tutorial on this because it's really, the code is really big, and I'm not sure if it's going to be really efficient for you guys to learn how it works in the backend. Now here we execute, just update the timeline information. And here we're going to get all those values from there and play the montage. Play the montage, the play rate, the starting position. Here, after the montage is executed, in the process of the montage being executed, we execute this function right below in here. It checks for the delay until correction value. And then we use a retriggable delay to basically start the event of the character being moved from the ledge to ledge. Basically, we're going to play the animation and then we're going to execute the timeline to just basically correct the player's position, the character's position on the ledge. Maybe it's just for me, but I like when you do tutorials for complicated code for beginners. Yeah. Yeah, I think it feels easier, but I think the toughest part is for a beginner to try to follow up my instructions, and I think this tutorial is going to be like 3 hours. 3 to 5 hours long, the biggest one, the biggest one I've made so far. Let me just turn on my my AC. So do you guys think I should make the full tutorial or not? Yes, yes. Thanks. Now, basically what we're going to do is just play the montage and then the timeline. At the end, we're going to be showing you, I'm going to be showing you the full result. how it looks like with the premium version. So I have an idea of how it works. So you have the timeline, which sets which basically corrects the character position into the ledge. Because if you just play the animation and then let the animation run, it's not always, I think most of the time, the animation is not going to reach the ledge properly. So we need a correction, right? And we want to do that with using animations that has retromotion, because we want to make it as much realistic as possible. We just don't want to use the timelines to move the actor, and that's it. So you want to use timelines. We want to combine timelines and animations with retromotion. So you want to let that animation retromotion to play, that montage animation, and then when it's almost reaching its point where it needs to attach to the ledge, the character needs to attach to the ledge, we're going to correct the position using the timelines. As you can see right here, we only have one timeline, but in the premium version we have a lot of timelines. But I removed most of them because they didn't make that much sense to have a lot of timelines for specific animations. So this is the most simplest version that you can get that we're gonna have in here to see. So for updating the actor's location and rotation while navigating on the ledges, so just to correct that position, we use this event in here, set actor transform event. And then here we update the alpha based on the alpha value that comes out of the timeline. And of course the timeline is, it takes 60 seconds. Yeah, I haven't talked about the other timelines there. I forgot to talk about the other timelines. How much seconds, what's the length and seconds. So the length is 60 milliseconds, and it takes the end of the key is 1 and the initial key is 0. Now for the other timelines, we have for the other timelines, as you can see, this timeline, the two timelines in here, we use one we use for setting the actor's location. For setting the actor's location is very much the same thing. The value is always going to be 1. The end key is always going to be 1. The starting key is going to be always 0. The length is going to be 22 milliseconds for the location. Now for the rotation, we're gonna have 22 milliseconds. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same. It takes the same thing, same time. All right. I was gone for a bit. Are you still going through the code? I'm still going through the code. But I think I've already finished it. Almost finished. So as you can see right here, we correct the character's rotation and location. We use a lerp transform with the interpolation modes to be quat interpolation mode. And here we choose the starting transform based on the current actor transform or saved current actor transform. All right. And here we have some other values such as timeline finished event. And this one I've already talked about. Let me see where I used this one. Yeah, as soon as the correction from the timeline is finished, we execute this event in here just to update the variable state, and also set the current ledge angle to the last target angle, so that we have the most updated values from which angle the character actually is. Now for the last thing that I want to talk about is the update rotation pre-CMC. Now I have this use motion matching rotation modifier, which I don't know where it is used. I think we don't need this one. For nothing. But of course, maybe in the future you might need that in order to fix some bugs, maybe. And then the other thing for the event graph. We have some variables to be done in here, such as can process input. As you can see, you cannot aim while you're navigating the ledges. So if you try to press right mouse button, as you can see, if the character is climbing on the ledge, we cannot aim, because if you aim, it's going to change the character rotation, and we're gonna have to handle that stuff pretty much better later. So this is just a lazy code just to fix the the character rotating. Also in here, if the player, if we block the player's movement input, we also block the movement on the word space. Here we debug for slow motion. So if you press 1, you can debug. And I think that's it. What do you guys think about this code? Yeah, now I'm going to show you guys how it looks like when the full system is completed. Of course, I want to add new things. It needs to be a bit more complex. Yeah, definitely. That code is easy. Let me just put the... I forgot to place the the first attachment animation in there, but that's how it looks like if you have the full system. As you can see, this animation, sometimes the animation goes too much below. As you can see right here, the arms flow a little bit, but that's a fix of the... That's a problem and issue of the animation itself. It's going to be later fixed. So as you can see, you can go in the ledges and it pretty much works fine. Later, of course, we could add the physics body to the legs. You can do inner corners. Sometimes we have glitches like this because I didn't add that code that we've added in here of prohibiting the character to go to still go even if it doesn't have the not set up in here. Or maybe this one code is missing. Can you climb on top of the actual box? Not in this code, but I'm gonna add that after. These are the features, kind of features that I'm going to add after I make the tutorial, because in the tutorial it's not going to contain those in the tutorial it's not going to contain those systems. Those extra systems. So I'm going to add the ability for climbing up on the top of the actual box after we finish with this tutorial right here. All right, so let's start with the actual tutorial now. It's going to be, I'm not sure who's going to survive on this tutorial, but let's do it. Of course, you can use this tutorial for the actual learning process, because I'm going to be explaining the nodes. I'm going to be explaining the nodes in a detailed form. Would there be a tutorial for climbing up on top of the box? Yeah, I can make a tutorial later of that. Let me just save this so I don't forget. This will be later. Future updates. Will you combine this with the locomotion project? Which one? The latch system is already combined with the GASP. If I will combine the devlogs. I think it's not really. I think it's good to separate things, especially because the devlog project is not ready yet. So I'm just putting all the. I'm just basically separating the system so that I can have a better organization of the variables, the functions. Yeah. So I can have a better organization. Because otherwise, it's going to be, the code is going to be really messy. The only condition that I would combine the system is the systems together is if I have both systems working pretty much without bugs, pretty much finished without bugs, without any bugs, and tested by a lot of people. And then if the people that tested it said that it doesn't have any bugs, that I can combine it, then I can combine all the projects. But I think this tutorial is going to be really interesting for people who wants to learn how Blueprint works, what you can do. Yeah, I'll be creating a new GASP project with everything from scratch, basically. And then we're going to go through each node one by one. And do you think the system could be applied to regular third person? Yeah, it could be, definitely. Now, what I would recommend if you want to use a third person template project is to use the UE4 skeleton, because the animations work better with this skeleton, with this rig. All right, so let's start the tutorial. Let me just record this. 1 hour has been gone. Now 1 hour. I think this tutorial is going to last like 3 hours or 4 hours to make, but maybe I'll survive there until there. All right, so first things first, let me just close everything. Now the Latch Premium system doesn't look good right now because I'm still working on it. So it's going to look a lot better in the future. So all right, let's go for the tutorial then. Now the first thing you're gonna do, you're going to open up. You're going to basically choose a folder. Not choose a folder. Wait. Now the first thing you're going to do, you're going to open up your Epic Games launcher. Yeah, guys, first time ever, 24 hours live stream. I'm gonna have to take a pause to just have breakfast, and then I can have a coffee break, and then I can come back. So after opening up your Epic Games launcher, you're going to go to the library. Of course, you're gonna have to buy the pack, the Light system. It's I think it's $80. You can buy it. As you can see, it's the action adventure ledge climbing system. This one. For me, as I live in Brazil, the price is converted as 433. But for you, if you live in the US, I think you're going to pay like $80 to buy the system. I think not everyone has it, but if you have animations, animations that are similar to this one, maybe I can offer you support on adding those animations as well. Maybe if you search for the ledge animations, you can find maybe cheaper animations, but I'm not sure if you're gonna have that one. Maybe this one. I'm not sure. But this one is the highest quality one. I super recommend. But if you buy other animations, you're gonna have to set up the other settings. But I can offer you the support on basically adapting other animations that are not from the spec to your project. That's a clean downloads folder. Yeah, I've cleaned it up before the live stream. I don't want nothing here. The kawaii animations look promising for this project. Which one is the kawaii? I know automate traversal animations are great for cheaper animation. Yeah, you can choose like if you have other ledge animations, maybe you can basically all you have to do is just have a ledge animation pack. And then if you have different animation packs, then all you gotta do is just change the offsets, because in the code it has offsets where the character should be at, like the exact height of where the character should be at, so that the hands are placed correctly on the ledge and it doesn't get floating. It doesn't get too much forward or backwards or to the left or right. So by adjusting the offset, if you have different animations, you're just gonna have to edit the offset so that everything works fine. And also the delay, that as soon as the animation plays, there is a delay that starts. So you're gonna have to start to edit that delay as well on each animation, so that you basically refine the system. All right, so if you have the action adventure ledge climb, in my case, I have that. So if you don't, you're gonna have to, you can either buy it or buy it from other animator. So all you gotta do is just go to, well, firstly, you're gonna have to add the GASP system. So you're going to go to the library. You're gonna have to go to the game animation sample. I'm gonna click on browse. I'm gonna go to the downloads folder and then select folder. Here, the name could be ledge animation tutorial. Engine version 5.5 as always. Create. All right. So as you can see, if you go to the downloads folder, you're going to have the ledge animation tutorial. You're going to have the content browser. You don't need to open anything. You just need to go to your ledge climb system, add to project. I'm going to search it up where my ledge animation tutorial is, without showing which projects I have in here. Let me just type tutorial. As you can see, if you hover over it, as you can see, C users local dev downloads ledge animation tutorial. You're going to click on that and add to project. There we go. Done. Now you can close the Epic Games launcher and then click on the ledge animation tutorial, open it up. All right, so we have here the GASP animation, the GASP project. with the ledge animations added into our project folder. So you click on play. So here I have the GASP. Everything working fine. I like to have the darker system, the darker theme. I think it looks better. All right. So the first thing you're gonna do is go to your SandboxCharacter, double click on that, and then in here we're going to create a new graph. This is going to be called ledge system graph. We're going to use the F key. I'm going to do this a little bit different. I want to spawn the capsule trace for objects just to show you guys something real quick. So the start location could be the actual location. The radius could be 40. Doesn't matter for now. Now the object types could be make array. Now in here, as you can see, we don't have the ledge option. So all we gotta do is just go to the default level first. Go to edit, project settings, collision. Now I'm gonna try to do things fast in here because I don't want to spend like 40 hours on the tutorial. So whatever I think it's easy to explain, I'm going to speed things up. Easy to understand. All right, so I'm going to go to the ledge new object channel and then choose the ledge, the name. I'm going to choose ledge. I think the default response could be set to ignore. Now close it. Now you could get any block that's going to serve as for our ledge stripe so that we can climb on ledges. So we need the two cubes, one for serving as a ledge stripe and the other one for serving as a cube, as a point to hang, right? As a hangable point. All right, let me just place my character over here. What? Oh, I deleted. For the draw debug type, I'm going to do for duration. So every time I press F, as you can see, it spawns a sphere trace. For the object types, as I've added the ledge object type in there, I want to select the ledge in here so that I only detect the object types that are ledge. So even if I try to detect this one, it's not going to detect because it doesn't have a ledge as an object channel. So what I want to do to make the ledge stripe is make it so that I can duplicate this cube in here, and I want to make it so that it looks like a ledge stripe. Let me just disable these options in here because I just like the translation mode, like this one, but this one has to be disabled, I think, for rotating and for scaling. I don't want to have a snappy control over there. Now everything is white in here. I don't like. So what I want to do, I want to go into the materials folder, but I cannot find the materials. Sometimes it glitches, the engine glitches. So when you press to search for the material in the material folder, it doesn't find. Here it is. There you go. Now I want to just drag and drop that color in there, and I want to use the blue color just to speed things up. I don't want to make a new material to make the lead stripes. I want to disable this one. I want to make it this way and this way. Now all you gotta do is click on the lead stripe, and I'm going to go into collision presets, choose custom. Let me just see something here. Project settings, collision. Here you can add a new collision preset. As you can see, you have all the, so that you don't need to just click on custom and then everything. So to speed things up, I want to add a new collision preset, which is great. So I'm going to go to the project settings, collision, add a new collision preset, collision enabled. I want to choose object type is ledge, collision enables query only, and I want to name it to be ledge. For ledge stripes by local dev. Now I'm going to set everything to ignore and only set the visibility for the trace to be in here. Accept. So query only of no physics collision. Accept. So that every time when you select a new collision preset, you can just go ahead and choose the ledge. The ledge one. But I'm not seeing it here. For some reason, I'm not seeing the ledge. I'm just duplicate this and then, oh yeah, if I duplicate it, it's going to update. So I'm just going to select the ledge in here. So as you can see, automatically selected for me all the options that needs to be set in order for this to work. So you don't need to set the other things. So that's very good. Even I'm learning sometimes. I didn't know that this option existed. As you can see now, it's working. All right, so that's the setup we would like to have. Now, I think we should create all the variables right away just to save up time. So the first variable is going to be a Boolean variable as all the other ones. So the first variable is going to be do second step climb. The second one is going to be already climbing ledge. I'm just going to copy and paste so that you can create on your own. So just keep adding a new variable in here. The second one is just going to be for blocking the character movement rotation. The other one is going to be for blocking the player movement input so that the player can be able to move the character or not. So we can decide that with this boolean. The other one is the ability to debug. Is to debug the sphere traces, other values if you want to debug. The other one is the use motion matching rotation modifier. I think you don't really need that one, but I think it's good to have if you want to disable the motion matching rotation. Now the other one is the ledge navigation timeline. Just to update is to see if that timeline is finished or not. The other one that you're going to create is the can attach to ledge to check if the character can or not attach to the ledge. Now this one is for when the sphere detects the ledge. So if that happens, if it detects, then we're going to set this variable to be true so that we know if it detected or not. This variable, I think we don't use it. There's a variable here that we don't use, so I'm just going to delete that out of the way. So after the ledge hit detected, we have the rotation timeline finished. We also have the saved act transform. This is basically the method of saving and storing and using the current act transform to basically move the actor location to another. So here I have saved active transform, and here I have, we basically have two variables. I'm not sure why we have two. Let me just check it out real quick. I think one of them is because we have I'm not going to add those right now because I don't know which why we have two variables. Now the other one is the location timeline finished. Nefo said, hello, how are you? Thanks for the Unreal Engine live. Thank you very much. I'm doing fine. How about you? Now we have, as you can see right here, guys, we have a lot of variables to create. I'm just going to go ahead and copy them, and then I later can explain how they work. But basically, you're just going to create them, create the names. I know there's a lot of work for you, but imagine doing this all from scratch. It's crazy. I'm just going to go ahead and copy all those over into here to just speed up the process. Now pay attention that this one is the type of the variable is transform, so just selecting here, and always remember to just compile save everything. I'm not sure why the property. I'm not sure why we have this error here. We're gonna take a look at later. And then in this one is for playing the montage, the ledge navigation montage. So it's important for you to select the enum montage type of variable. This one is vector, transform, and now it's missing the structures that we're going to be setting up later. Now I'm not sure why it can't parse default value. Maybe it's because there is a default value attached, assigned to it. So let me just make this everything 0, 0, 0. Compile. There we go. Make the default value 0, 0, 0. All right. I'm not sure if we're going to make it. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make this full tutorial today, but maybe we're going to be able to make it by parts. So today is going to be the first part, and then the second and final part is going to be tomorrow. So the first thing is going to be to check if the character can attach to the ledge. And then we're going to check if the character is already climbing. So if the character can attach to the ledge, and if the character is already climbing, we want to detach the character. So here we stop the timeline that it's going to be in here. And then after that, we stop another timeline, which is going to be for stop navigation timeline. Then here we stop the first attachment timeline. Now in here, we prepare the movement for detachment. So this is the detach phase. I think actually we should build first the attachment phase. I think it's more interesting. It makes more sense to build the attachment phase first. So let's do that right now. So if the character is not already climbing the ledge, we're going to get the branch to, so this is the attach code. I'm going to make this to be green, and then the detach is going to be the opposite, so maybe orange. So get can process input. And then here I'm going to collapse this to a node. I'm going to call this hang trace attach. I'm going to collapse this into a node, make it easier. Now in here, we're going to make some calculations for placing that capsule. So you're going to get the actor forward vector. I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to do 16 so that we can get a forward length, like a forward offset. The capsule. We're going to add this is going to be the start place where the position of the capsule trace is going to appear. So that's the start location. The end location is where it's going to end. I'm going to add a offset in the z-axis of 18 so that the capsule can be a little bit up relative to the character's location. And the offset, the forward offset, I'm going to choose 16 so that it gets to be a little bit forward, so that it detects the ledges a little bit better. Now I'm just going to copy paste and do the same thing, but for in here, I'm going to select the same, but in this case for the end, we're going to choose a different forward offset, which is going to be 10, 5. Sometimes I add a minimum value in here just to not make the capsule to glitch. So just 0.2. The array here, the ledge, the object is the ledge. And there you go. Now if we click, oh yeah, the end has to be on the end. So let me just fix this. Of course, we're gonna have to also add the radius, so 37 for the radius, and half height is going to be 74. So play. Now when you press F, you can see now it detects. That's good. That's the first process of everything. Now I'll hit, we're going to promote the structure because we need to know what are the values, what are the data behind the first attachment. So we need to know the data, like we need to ask, hey, what did you detect from the first ledge attachment to the capsule trace. So as you can see, we promote that to a variable, we save it so that we can use it later. So basically we set and then define those values to use later because we need to know. And then here the return value, if it's true, we can basically make it to be like something, a name. Instead of return value, you can choose a name, whatever name you want. I choose it to be did it hit. It's better. So if it did hit, we are going to check. So if it did hit, if it didn't, we're going to didn't, we're going to set do second step climb to be false. So here we basically check if the trace did hit a ledge. Now, if it really did hit a ledge, we set the can process input, which is going to block the player's movement, to be false. By default, this value is set to be true. So just remember to set this value to be true as the default value. And then in here, we set the can attach to ledge to be false. Because if you are attaching the character on the ledge, we are not going to be able to attach the character again if you are attached. All right, so now in here, we're going to prepare the character movement. I'm just going to make a comment to make it easier. So for preparing the character movement, we set the movement mode. For setting the movement mode, we need the reference of which movement you want to choose, which you want to change the mode. So I'm going to choose the character movement. So character movement, drag and drop it, set movement mode. I'm going to set it to flying because that's the mode that sets the character to be in the air. Now again in here, we're going to stop movement immediately. So that will make sure to stop the character movement as soon as we attach on the ledge. We're going to set the character's max fly speed to be 0. So that the character doesn't slide in the world. And then finally, we're going to get the character's mesh and also the capsule component, and then disable the physics. Set collision enabled to no collision. All right. And then finally, we set the character orientation movement to be like this. Character movement. We get the character movement and set orient rotation to movement. So this is just going to make sure that the character doesn't strafe doesn't make the character to just look at the camera while we are navigating on the ledges. And then in here, we're going to set use controller desired rotation. Now this is going to be true to make sure that the character does not rotate to face where the mouse is pointing at. Now in here, we're going to do those, 2 things. This one is going to be to check if the character is already climbing ledge. And this is going to be true. So basically on the attachment phase, let me just extend this a little bit more. So here you're just going to update the state of the ledge if the character is already climbing on the ledge or not. We're going to also do set do second, something like this. Set do second step climb. I'm not sure why I add this variable. I don't remember this one. The reason why I've added it. Perhaps I'm not going to be needing it, but for now, we're going to use it as well. So just take that option to be true. Now, after this one, we're going to play the ledge catch animation. We're going to get a montage, play montage, get the mesh. And then for the montage to play, we have the option to select it directly. So from the ledge animations that we've added, from the climb animation pack, we have the animation before. And then inside the root folder, you have all these animations into here. So all you gotta do to not confuse things, you're going to delete the physics folder. We don't need that. So after doing this, you're going to select all the animations, right click, create animation montage. So you're going to save everything. And now you need to go inside each animation montage, and you need to create a slot. So you're going to go to Window, Animation Slot Manager, add a new slot. Let's say ledge, just ledge slot. And then you're gonna have to add that ledge slot to all the animations, but you don't need to do it right now. But yeah, I forgot. I forgot to, but that's okay. I forgot to retarget the animations, but that's okay. Just click on any animation and then click on the retarget animations. And then here you're going to choose the UFN because we're using UFN right now. We're using GASP to implement the ledge animations. So we're going to choose the UFN. And here you're going to click on this filter. You're going to go to the animation montage and then select everything. And then export animations. I think it's better to export the animations on a new folder inside the climb ledge animation pack, and then select UFN ledge pack. The prefix, I like it to be, I don't know, UFN. Yeah, just type UFN. Export. Duplicating animation. This is going to take a while to retarget everything. And then it's done. Now that we have the animations retargeted, we can use a idle animation. Yeah, we can use this animation here to play. The default group slot is going to have, yeah, we're gonna have to create the new, go to window again, go to the animation slot manager, add the new slot, and then type ledge slot. And then here you're going to select the name, select the ledge slot, so that that animation can be executed. I'm going to save. Will following your UFI beginner blueprint course be enough to teach you how to make long codes like this? Yes, definitely. Do you have tutorials or project files up on Patreon? Tutorials. Do you have tutorials or project files? On Patreon, I only have project files. I have some tutorials, of course, which is basically following up the project files, really basically tutorials related to project files on Patreon. So you have tutorials on how to fix things, you have tutorials on how to make some other things, and you also have the access. You have access to the blueprint coding tips, which I like to do as well. Which gives you a lot of tips in order to make a good blueprint system. No, there is no tutorials for the ledge. The tutorials for the ledge system is only available in here for free on YouTube. So all you gotta do is now is just to select the animation there and then select the same name. Now for that animation to play, you're going to go to the mesh, animation class, and then here on the animation graph, you're going to choose a place where everything needs to be set. Now in here, you're going to be using the LED slot. Get the default slot. Also, it's the Blueprint Beginner course for members on YouTube. Blueprint Beginner course. This one? Let me see which one it is. Because I've been working on a course. I've been working on this course right here, but it's not finished yet. But the full course is going to be, I'm going to try to make the full course and then maybe publish it on Hotmart or Udemy. So you're going to have a separate slot for playing the animation montage. But I think any course you could get, I think if you buy any good course, if you search it up on Udemy, you're going to be able to find courses, but maybe they don't teach you directly on how to do locomotion systems like I do. So I'm going to try to make a course filling that gap. Let me just see if I... No, yeah. Everything works, but as you can see, you have a lot of bugs, as expected. But at least the animation plays, and that's everything good. Well, I think this tutorial is going to take, without cuts, I think it's going to take 6 to 7 hours. I'm already estimating. I think this tutorial is going to take 6 to 7 hours without cuts. I think I'm gonna stay until 3:40 maybe. What do you guys think? Because I have to take a break. Otherwise, I'm gonna be so much tired that my brain is going to burn. Sometimes when I work too much, I have difficulties to think straight. Breaks are good, definitely. All right, now in here, we're going to disable all movement inputs. Tomorrow, I'm going to be continuing the live stream tutorial so that you guys can see the process. So I'm not going to touch the live stream, this live stream project in here off stream. I'm only going to make progress on this live stream tutorial for the light system only when I'm live streaming, only when I'm actually live streaming. So that you guys can see what's the difficulties. You can see if you can really see the progress, track the progress and see if we have any bugs. And if we have bugs, then we can try to see and think of a way to fix that bug. We can try to, you know, find ways and try to fix that bug so that I can really learn the process of fixing the bugs, debugging, all those things. So it's really good to learn. Yeah, but I mean, will the cut YouTube version release tomorrow? No, because I don't have the full tutorial yet. So what I can try to do, I can basically make the live stream. So what I'm doing here is just doing the live stream and also recording. So as soon as the live stream is done, I can cut the parts that I don't speak, where it's not important to watch. And then once the live stream, once this whole project from the live stream is done, then I can basically cut all the parts that I don't speak or that it's not important for the listeners to learn, to see, to watch. And then I'm going to publish that as a tutorial later. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I want to try to do. So just finish the live stream tutorial first. And then with this video, I can cut the parts that it's not going to be used, and then publish the tutorial as an actual tutorial on YouTube, not a live stream. So for following up, we're going to disable, oops. Now, after playing the ledge catch animation, as you can see right here, it's pretty messy, it's pretty buggy, but as you can see, the character just plays the animation montage, but that's all we have right now. It's a very long way through into making the system work. So as you can see, the character plays the ledge animation, the catch animation, but a lot of things happen, but that's all right. Yeah, I think a very important step, as you can see, the character keeps standing like his, as you can see, like he's touching the ground without touching the ground, like flying, right? So to fix that and make the character to be able to be on the ledge pose, we're going to make a state machine. So that with the state machine, we can decide which pose the character can be at when he is on the climbing state. So we're going to get property access to access and to know if the character is climbing or not. So we're going to get the sandbox. SandboxCharacter, and then get the is already climbing ledge. Now, one thing what I like to do, as I'm going to be using a blend poses by bool, I can directly use this pin node in here and directly access the SandboxCharacter from here. So SandboxCharacter, and then is already climbing ledge in here, so that I don't need to have property access in there. But it's up to you which one you would prefer to use, which one feels more comfortable and organizable and beautiful. So in here, I'm going to place the slot before the new state machine. It's going to be true, so that if the character is climbing, the blend poses by bool is going to switch to true, so that we can use our new state machine, which we're going to be placing those, which we're going to be placing the character on the ledge idle pose, which is this one in here. So I want to play this animation in here. The hang idle, not this one. This is the freehang. So where's the other one? This one. I want to use this pose right here. This one. So I want to use this pose if the character is climbing. Basically, what I'm gonna do is create inside the new state machine. I'm going to create. Of course, we have the base locomotion. So we're going to create a new state called base locomotion, and then after this, we're going to add a new state, and this is going to be ledge idle. This is just for having a smoother locomotion. And now you don't need to add the base locomotion. It's just because I have more control over how and when the base locomotion should blend into the ledge idle. I'm not sure how to explain this. So here you can double click on the ledge idle state, and then here I want to add this animation there. Now all you can do is just drag and drop it, or you can just copy the name, go here on the SandboxCharacter, go to the asset browser, and then paste it in here. So as you can see, you can just drag and drop that into here, connecting to the output poles. And then here on the sequence player, you're going to click on loop animation. Oh yeah, also another thing, I almost forgot. It's very important for you to select all the animations and then select the filter to select only the animation sequence. So I think I'm gonna have to select it again, maybe. Yeah. So select Ctrl A to select everything. So animation sequence. So what I want to do here is to enable the root motion option to be true. So let's just right click on it. But I want to do this for all the animations, not just one. So instead of just going through each animation and then, you know, click on the enable root motion in here, and then go to another animation and then click on the root motion and then repeat this process for all the other 177 animations, all you can do to avoid that is just right click, go to asset actions, go to edit selection property matrix, and then in here you have all the animations that you've selected in there. So what you want to do is just enable the root motion. So as you can see, you can enable individually, or you can go to the pin columns in here and then search for root motion. And then here you can select this option here. And then save. So this will apply the root motion for all the animations. And so that when you play the animation is going to have, so the character is going to move, the position of the character is going to be moved with the root bone motion. All right. Wow, it's a long way through. Now in here, what I want to do, as I want to have the axis basically promote the previous poles and then use it inside the state machine, I want to save a new cache, and then I want to do, so I don't know, like base locomotion. So that everything behind, everything previous, yeah, everything before here is going to be saved into a single pose so that we can use that information to be plugged in there. So in the new state machine, I'm going to go to the base locomotion and then use the same name that we've just named our cache. So it's base locomotion. So we're going to plug it in here, use base locomotion. I'm not sure what goes in here. Let me just take a look at the other. So what goes in here in the transition is this one here. So SandboxCharacter, and then here we're going to get the is already climbing ledge. Compile. So that's the only variable that you should be having here to check if the character is already climbing the ledge. Now for, yeah, I think that's it. Now for the other thing, the character is on the A pose because we don't have anything yet. But for fixing that, we're just going to copy the name, and then if the character is not climbing on the ledge, then we can use the base locomotion, which is the gas locomotion, the gas project locomotion, the motion matching, right? So if you're not climbing, we can use the base locomotion. If we are climbing, then switch to a newer, then switch to our ledge system. Let me see if this works. So as you can see, it's working perfectly fine. Of course, we have other problems, but we're progressing. So as you can see right now, we can really attach to the ledge. The character can, oh yeah, the camera glitched. It's because we enter inside the box. So as you can see, the character can attach to the ledge, which does the job, but he is entering inside the box. And to fix that, we're going to use timelines. But before, we're going to disable updates on variables before doing that. So we're going to disable all movement inputs of the character, so that if you try to press jump or any other key that could affect how that could cause bugs in the ledge system while in the ledge mode, in the ledge state, we're going to just block those functions. So we're going to set can process input. By default, it is true. So just remember to check this option to be on. And now in here, for the next step, we're going to disable the modes so that we don't glitch the ledge movement. Because as you can see here, when we're strafing and then we try to when you go left and right, as you can see, the character moves. And that's because we are still in the strafe mode of the GASP system. So as you can see, what I mean by strafing is that the character always tries to follow where the camera is pointing. So if you go to the left, he strafes to the left or right. But now if I stop strafing, now the character goes to the direction that I'm pressing, I'm using for the direction and movement input keys, which is WASD. So the character rotates to the direction of the WASD keys and not tries to follow and not tries to rotate always on the same where the mouse is pointing, which is this one. So as you can see, this is the strafe mode and this is the free mode, as you can call it. The free mode, you can go anywhere. You're basically more free to select which place, which rotation you want to go. You want to face, which angle. Anyways, so let's go ahead and fix that. We don't want to be able to move while in the ledge. As you can see right here, we're able to move. So to fix that, we're going to actually, to facilitate this a little bit, we can just copy this structure right here. We copy the character input state, this one and this one. That's all we need. And it doesn't necessarily need to be from this one right here. It could be from this one, or it could be from this one. So it doesn't matter. All right, so you're going to click on this. You're going to go to the pin options. And here you can select which pins you want to make available. We can choose any pin. The ones that I want to disable, the modes that I want to disable for the character is the strafe. So I'm going to put this pin to be discoverable in here. And the aiming, I want to disable those two. So just by enabling those inputs in here, you can decide if you want to turn off or turn on the strafe. So if you just let the pin to be false, we're going to turn off strafing, the strafing mode, and that's all you gotta do. Let me just see if that works. I'm not sure if that's gonna work. As you can see now, the character is not turning, as you can see, when I turn the mouse. So that's good. So that's last one fix to be added. Last one bug to be fixed. One bug fixed. Now I'm going to get the other branch. We're going to get a branch, and here we're going to get the second step climb. And here we're going to set the current ledge angle. Now, I always try to explain the reason why doing things, why adding new things, why doing this and doing that, and I'm trying to keep that. Now, if I don't explain something, it's because it's not very important to learn. That's it. Now here, what we want to do, we want to save the initial ledge angle when first attaching to the ledge. So to do that, we're going to get the hang trace hit result structure that we got from this line trace right here. I always say line trace, it's capsule trace. So we're going to get the get hang trace. And then from this hang trace, we're going to break hit result. Let me just cut this and copy and paste to this place right here. Just save one. And then from here, we're going to get tags. I'm going to get the first one. And then we're going to get to string. And then we're going to make a literal float. To string, and then I'm lost in here. Converts to float. Yeah, string to float, and then make a literal float. So all we're doing here is just converting whatever it is on the tags and then converting into a decimal number float value. Where's the output? Oh, yeah, so I'm just going to select everything in here and then collapse your node. And this is going to be called get ledge angle. Then here we're going to set in here. So that it basically saves what's the current ledge angle. Now for the next code, we're going to be continuing on the next live stream. Probably tomorrow, I think I'm gonna recontinue this live stream on the same time, 12:30 a.m. 12:30 p.m. I think. In the midday. Yeah, so what we got in here is be able to make the character to attach on the ledge. As you can see, we have some bugs, but we're going to be fixing that later. Yeah, we have an error because we didn't specify a tag in here. So we're going to go to tags. On the ledge stripe, we're going to add a new tag in here. So let's say 0, so that we don't have, right now we don't have any errors. So I'm gonna be continuing this live stream tomorrow. Any questions? Yeah, I'm gonna continue the devlog for the weapon system as soon as I finish the ledge one, because this ledge system is giving me a lot of work to do, and it doesn't allow me to have more time to make the weapon devlogs. So as soon as I finish the ledge system first, all the tutorials and all the systems, and we also have some animations, some cool fixes for the animations, which is going to turn the ledge system even greater. I'm also having support from the animator from the ledge animation pack, so it's going to be very good. The final system of the premium project is also going to look very good, and we're going to be fixing the issues in the way as we're doing this tutorial. I also want to add the first person mode in the weapon system project files as well. As you can see, we have a lot of animations in here. We can use all of them. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to go now, and I see you very soon.